What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we here back in Australia. Somebody sent me this video, so this is a special request right here. But we got all 8 states and territories in Australia ranked worst to best. And I feel like I know a few. I don't know all of the states and territories. I feel, I'm still kind of climbing, still kind of learning a little bit. So appreciate this recommendation, but we finna check this out. See what it's about. So y'all hit the subscribe button. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts. If you think the rankings are wrong, or this place should be here, this place should be there, type of thing. So let's check this out.
Do you love to curse, enjoy large empty swaths of extremely hot desert, and want to increase your risk of skin cancer? Well, then you might be a feral camel, in which case you're likely already in Australia. And if you're not, why haven't you moved here? With gorgeous beaches, incredible cities, great healthcare and education, and some of the most unique ecosystems and wildlife not found anywhere else on Earth, the land down under is one of the best countries to live in. But while this giant island continent country, is around the same size as the contiguous United States, it has just 1/13 the population. And over half of the 25.9 million Australians reside in just 3 cities.
But doesn't Australia have like 6 states and 2 major territories? Why don't people spread out more?
Well, Mr. Camel, because most of the country gets so hot that you'll end up looking like this guy if you spend 5 minutes outside. So unless
I ain't gonna lie, I believe it because I just seen a video where I seen soap melt for the first time. I seen a little speed bump melted, and then RP Mrs. Puff, a puffer fish it wasn't melted. That would have been crazy if it melted, but it dried out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's something different.
Country gets so hot that you'll end up looking like this guy if you spend 5 minutes outside.
For sure.
So unless you actually are one of the 1 million feral camels that call the outback home, you'll probably want to stick with 85% of Australians who live within 50 kilometers of the coast.
Doesn't like every state touch the ocean though? How do I know which is best?
Find out as we rank all 8 Australian states and territories from worst to best. And let's hit 5,000 likes for a video on the 10 best cities in Australia. Number 8. Actually, we're going to start off with a quick honorable mention. The external territories. That's right, Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, the Cocos Islands, and a few other islands that no one lives on. I didn't forget about you.
Okay, I feel like I heard of a few of these Christmas. I don't think I heard of the Christmas Island.
Now, don't get me wrong. These aren't terrible places to live and are breathtaking with plenty of endemic species and extravagant landscapes. Christmas Island's nickname is actually Australia's Galapagos due to its unique red crabs, booby birds, flying foxes, and hundreds of other...
Okay, those are not red. Those other ones, they look... I thought those were like flowers or something. Those are crabs. Those things are bright red, like Mr. Crab.
Animals and fauna found throughout the tropical jungle and surrounding coral reef. And the largest and most inhabitable of these islands, Norfolk Island, is home to the tallest pine trees in the world, beautiful beaches and rolling pastures, and some of the rarest birds. If you don't mind a very slow-paced lifestyle with few modern conveniences, and most things being more expensive as they have to be shipped in, the external territories might seem like paradise. But considering they all have a combined population of only around 5,000, the extremely isolated lifestyle isn't for most. Actual number 8, Northern Territory. If you're strictly looking to rake in the dough and don't mind the lack of infrastructure or seclusion from the rest of the country, the Northern Territory might be for you. The median household income is the 3rd highest of any state or territory at 115 grand, and the median home value is the lowest at just 515 grand. Plus, there's no property tax. But remember how I said a lot of Australia is uninhabitable? Well, a huge chunk of the
I was about to say, it looked very dry in the north. It looked very, very dry.
The most uninhabitable land is here. The southern half of the territory has a climate similar to the Sahara Desert, and while Darwin and the coast is a bit more livable with tons of rainfall during the wet season, it also gets very hot and humid, and that rain often turns into cyclones and extreme flooding. So, despite accounting for 17.5% of the country's landmass, less than 250,000 residents, or 1% of Australia, actually lives in the NT. And it's the only state or territory which had a net population decrease over the past year. But the lack of people is also why many love living here. From Litchfield and Kakadu to Uluru and Watarka National Parks, the territory is home to so much stunning wide-open wilderness.
And look, I need to check out because I think I came across a video of some of Australia's national parks and stuff. But I mean, I guess the north now too. I mean, shoot, that weather sound like how it be here in Texas. I mean, other than the sun is different, y'all know. I be comparing Australia when they talk about the weather in Australia. I compare it to Texas because y'all. I'm telling y'all don't understand how crazy the weather be changing. And I feel like it's only here. But then I started looking at Australia, it's there. You know, I think everybody else they adapt to whatever the season is, but we get everything no matter the season. But yeah, I don't know. This reminds me of Texas,
National Parks. The
right
territory is home to so much stunning wide open wilderness that you can experience all to yourself. Although you might not want to be too alone, because not only does the Northern Territory have the most saltwater crocodiles in Australia, it's also by far the most dangerous state or territory, with a violent crime rate 323% above the national average.
Oh my God.
Number 7, South Australia.
While
the Northern Territory is home to some of the highest wages in the nation, South Australia has the second lowest median household income at just $98,500 and the highest unemployment rate at 4.4%. But if you're someone who prefers the simple life and community over vibrancy and wealth, the Festival State is a wonderful place to settle down. It's home to so many charming suburbs and beach towns, over 5,000 kilometers of pristine coastline, the best wine in the country, and hardly any crime. And with below average fuel, grocery, and utility costs, and a median home value of just $565,000, South Australia is actually the cheapest state. And Adelaide is the cheapest capital.
Okay, Adelaide.
Sure, Adelaide's also likely the most boring city with over 1 million.
I seen Adelaide. I mean, it looked nice. It looked nice to me.
In residents, and a bit behind the times with supermarkets still closing at 5 p.m. on weekends, for example. But that's also by design. Adelaiders love that their home offers all of the amenities of a city, with great food, museums, parks, festivals, and a few unique attractions like the Adelaide Central Market, while still maintaining its small town charm with hardly any traffic and where everyone knows everyone. Not to mention, it's easy to navigate with no toll roads and a beautiful beach or waterfall hike being just a 20-minute drive from the city center.
Not bad.
Number 6.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm surprised that's at 7. I'm surprised. I just know one thing. Where is it? I'm guessing Queensland and New South Wales definitely should be 1 and 2. I forgot to cast my vote in the beginning. But that's what I'm thinking. Cause most of y'all I know are in Queensland. So that gotta be number 1. Gotta be.
Queensland. Queensland is Australia's
Spoke too soon.
most popular holiday destination, and for good reason. It's incredibly safe, has the most national parks, and with scenery as diverse as the Great Barrier Reef, Daintree Rainforest, Porcupine Gorge, and Lamington, Girrawin, Garingan, under a volcanic Blackdown Tablelands, and Great Sandy National Parks, not to mention the only Everglades ecosystem outside of Florida, it's debatably the most beautiful state. And if you prefer a more chill vacation, the Sunshine State also offers plenty of theme parks and resorts in the Gold Coast.
Now this is what I'm talking about right here. Hold up,
More
Queensland.
chill vacation, the Sunshine.
See, this is what I'm talking about right here. You know, I might have to go and hit. That's SeaWorld. Wow. Dang, I didn't even know they had a SeaWorld in Australia. We went to SeaWorld like last summer. It was nice. Or at least summer for us. But let's see where in the water park. We was at the water park most of the time. But that's cool. Okay, Queensland.
Penn State also offers plenty of theme parks and resorts in the Gold Coast and over 13,000 kilometers of jaw-dropping beaches. So while many used to only holiday here, that's quickly changing as more people learn of Queensland's exceptional small cities and towns. In fact, it's now the fastest growing state and one of only 2 states where over half the population doesn't live in the capital. And it's not because Brisbane sucks. It's actually often ranked as the most livable city in Australia, as it's not nearly as congested or expensive as Sydney or Melbourne, while still offering legit big city amenities and experiencing rapid growth, especially with the Olympics coming in 2032. But while Queensland's economy is the second fastest growing of any state, it still has some catching up to do with the third lowest median household income of just $105,000. Because of this, and the fact that the housing market is booming with a median home cost of $788,000, the Sunshine State has the highest poverty rate at 13.5%. Number 5, Tasmania. Tasmania feels nothing like the rest of Australia. And that's because it isn't. An island located around 200 kilometers south of the mainland, the smallest state by both size and population, is home to so many otherworldly and unique landscapes and species not found anywhere else. Not to mention, it rarely ever gets hot and has the cleanest air on Earth. But not only is Tasmania an adventurous paradise, with places like Cradle Mountain, Mount Field, and the Bay of Fires all being a short drive from pretty much anywhere on the island, it's also home to so many delightful small towns with some of the friendliest people you will ever meet. And the capital, Hobart, punches well above its weight with tons of history and beautiful architecture, great restaurants, bars, and cafes.
Yeah, this definitely looked like it. It looked very historic compared to the other ones. I know all the mountains and stuff like that. Probably a lot of hiking trails.
One of the best museums in the country. Sure, there's little in terms of bustling city life, but if you're looking to slow down and relax while being surrounded by unspoiled nature, Tasmania is perfect. Well, if you're retired or work online, because while the economy is currently the fastest growing, the median household income is still the lowest at just $89,600, and the unemployment rate is 4.3%. At least the cost of living isn't too bad, with a median home price of $691,000, plenty of cheap, high-quality produce, and low energy bills due to most of the island running on hydroelectricity. Number 4.
Not bad. Yeah, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, I be forgetting about little Tasmania down there, you know what I'm saying? But, I spoke very soon. Queensland, like, I feel like most people that comment on my videos are in the Queensland area. I feel like I could be wrong. I think I get a lot of Queensland and Western Australia, I believe. Maybe Victoria. I feel like I've seen Victoria too. I could be wrong, but if I were to guess, I'm gonna say, I know I disregard the first one. I know I said Queensland was up there. I thought because Brisbane, I like Brisbane. I thought it was nice, but let's do. I'm going to say Western, what are we on, 4? I'm going to say Western Australia is 4. Then I'm going to go South Australia at 3. Let's do New South Wales as 2. And Victoria is 1. There we go. I could be wrong. Again. But these are mine. I'm looking at the capital.
Australia.
You see, this was me guessing because of the what I see with the cities and what the different things that I've seen and the people that I see. Maybe this is his opinion. Maybe.
Australia's oldest and most populated state.
I thought that
home
would
to
have been
Sydney,
top 2,
the most populated city. But while Sydney's big city amenities, multiculturalism, high quality of life, and beautiful beaches and harbors speak for themselves, this great state is so much more than just its capital. New South Wales spans over 800,000 square kilometers and is packed with 18 diverse bioregions ranging from sandy deserts to lush rainforests, rugged mountains, rolling hills, grasslands, rivers, and coast. Yeah, did you know this, and this are all within a 2-hour drive of Sydney?
Wow.
And if both big city life and serene scenery aren't your jam, there's also no shortage of incredible mountain or beach towns, as well as one of the best small cities in Newcastle. As a whole, New South Wales is likely the most balanced province and truly offers something for every type of lifestyle.
Then why the heck is it only number 4?
Well, because it's bloody expensive, with the highest median home cost of...
That makes sense, but it's still a lot of people here. The population is still quite great, but I can see that. I can see that the price and stuff. That plays a huge factor. But I mean, just with them talking about the median salaries, the salaries sound good in Australia, especially. I mean, even starting from 8. Up in the north, the salaries don't sound bad. At least maybe compared to here, they don't. To me, they don't sound bad. You know, I know for some of y'all, you might be like, nah, it's a little different than what I think. But
of $1.22 million. Now, to be fair, Sydney does have an excellent and diverse economy, so wages across the state aren't bad, with a median household income of $114,000 and the lowest unemployment rate of just 2.9%. But living in Sydney also means terrible traffic, everywhere being crowded, and some of the worst nightlife for a major city.
I see why you're number 4.
Number 3, the Australian Capital Territory, covering less than 2,400 square kilometers.
What?
Number 3, the Australian Capital Territory.
Isn't it the same
Covering
place?
less than 2,400 square kilometers and consisting of just Canberra, its suburbs, and Namadgi National Park, it's no surprise that many Australians never even think of visiting the place. And that's honestly a shame, because sure, Canberra isn't exactly the most exciting city, seeing as it was entirely planned with the sole purpose of serving as Australia's capital, but it's still one of the most livable cities in the world. With the second lowest crime and unemployment rate in the country, the highest median household income at 150 grand, and by far the lowest poverty rate of just 5.4%, Canberrans have very little to worry about. Especially since they're close to so many gorgeous mountains with the beautiful Molonglo River running right through town. But while the ACT checks all the statistical boxes, a lot of the city just feels empty with nothing to do if you don't know any locals. The CBD is mostly fields, office buildings, and roundabouts, and while there are walkable areas with shops and restaurants, such as Braddon, Canberra feels a lot more like a collection of spread out suburbs with a few town centers than an actual city. Although, since it is the capital, there are a ton of excellent museums, galleries, and gardens. But a fair warning, Canberra is one of the few Australian cities which gets a true 4 seasons, meaning the winters actually get cold. Number 2.
See, I don't really hear much about Canberra. I think that's how you said it, Canberra. If I'm not mistaken. I never hear too much, but like I said, the different places that I've seen, that's how I was ranking these. That's how I was ranking these. But top 2. All right, we got Western Australia gotta be number 1. But then again, Melbourne down there. Dang. I gotta say, they finna pick Victoria down here, maybe.
Victoria.
Okay.
When you think of Victoria, you probably only think of Melbourne, aka the true cultural capital of Australia with the best coffee on earth. Seriously, prove me wrong. But while it's nearly impossible to get bored in Melbourne with its outstanding music and art scene and so many bustling alleyways filled with trendy bars, restaurants, clubs, and cafes, the Garden State is also so much more than just the hipster haven. From skiing in Falls Creek to the penguins of Phillip Island to the stunning ridges of Grampians National Park and cascading waterfalls and rainforests of Yarra Ranges and Otway National Parks, Victoria may only account for 3% of Australia's landmass, but there is no shortage of sensational scenery. Not to mention, it's by far the safest state and home to the Great Ocean Road, the most beautiful drive in the country. But 75% of Victoria does live in Melbourne for a reason. With a stellar job market, world-renowned universities, tons of history, a hip and accepting culture, an excellent public transit, nightlife, and infrastructure, it makes sense that Victoria's capital is growing faster than Sydney and will likely eclipse its population by 2050.
So it's not expensive in Melbourne?
Capital is growing faster than Sydney and will likely eclipse its population by 2050, especially since it's cheaper. Although it is still pretty darn expensive, with the statewide median home price being $966 grand. Oh, and did I mention that Melbourne can get 4 seasons in 1 hour? Yeah, one time the temperature dropped 10 degrees Celsius in 3 minutes. Now, before we get to number 1, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think the best state or territory is and why.
But without further ado,
I ain't gonna lie, sorry Western Australia, I underestimated y'all, and I actually like Perth. When I seen it, I was like, oh yes, this is the place for me. I underestimate. I'm looking at I ain't gonna lie, I was looking at the capitals, so I thought he was talking, when you see capitals, more people, that's where I thought you ranked from worst to best. But really, I think all these places, I've seen videos of these different places, so I feel like it was like least best to very best. Not worse type thing.
Number 1, Western Australia. Bigger doesn't always mean better, but Australia's largest state by total area, accounting for nearly 1/3 of the country, is also the best. Surrounded by 21,000 square kilometers of captivating coast, Western Australia is home to so much enchanting, untouched wilderness. But the best thing about living here is that it's still incredibly affordable, with a median home value of just 630 grand, while also having the second highest median household income of 116 grand. Now, this is mainly due to an abundance of mining jobs, which aren't necessarily the most stable. But Perth's job market is growing and diversifying too. And speaking of Perth, it's likely the most underrated capital, with a hip music and art scene in Fremantle, excellent suburbs and beaches, solid public transit, above average nightlife and restaurants, and a relaxed, stress-free lifestyle. Outside of the state's extreme isolation, with Perth actually being the most isolated big city in the world, there's just not much wrong with Western Australia. And that's why it's our best place to live in this fine country.
I like this a lot, you know. I need to do this for y'all. I need to do the 10 best places to live in Texas. So we can see. I feel like Texas, that's different. I might know a few places. There might be some different places I ain't heard of in Texas, but I know Texas. But all in all, my rankings were off because I was looking at, I seen a lot of people over here, seen a lot of people over, I was basing it off the population, but my fault, Western Australia, I counted y'all out, but I do see a lot of West Queensland and what's the other one? Shoot, I forgot, but I see a lot. I think the most I've seen is Queensland though, in the comments most of the time. I'm sure it's wide varieties and stuff like that. But all in all, I'm glad I got to learn a little bit more of the states and territories. I've seen some of these places and they don't look too bad to me. So, but I enjoyed this. Hope y'all did as well. I got to do this. I might have to do this Texas one for y'all so y'all can check it out. Since I'm a Texas boy, Texas man, you know what I'm saying? But guys, that's all I have for this video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Send out those recommendations. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.